In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Please be seated. As a former English teacher, I'm still a student of the English language, and so I love to see how the English language changes depending on where you are located in the United States. I haven't even gotten to the story yet. And so when my family and I loaded up the van and we moved to Tennessee for seminary, I began to encounter people who had very different experiences and understanding of the English language. Not wrong, just different. And one of the conversations we had was just about how different parts of the United States interact with one another. And so when somebody said, well, you know, I'm from the South, and I go, oh, well, me too, I'm from Florida. And the lovely person said to me, oh, you think Florida is part of the South. Bless your heart. Now, that was the first time I had ever been bless your hearted. So I actually didn't know what had just happened. But everybody else did. The word blessing in our culture and in our country, even as Christians, has taken on a very non-biblical and non-Christian meaning. And what I mean by that is that if you look all over social media, you hear people giving testimonies about how blessed they are. One of the first things that they'll talk about is, well, I have a lovely home. I'm so blessed. I have a lovely job, or I just got a scholarship, or I was able to purchase a new car. I am truly blessed. Now, those are wonderful things, and the ability to have those things does come from God. But that's not what the word blessed actually means, at least not according to the gospel reading that we do today. In today's gospel, when Jesus begins to talk about who is blessed and who is in the kingdom of heaven, we actually get a very different picture. It seems to me more that being blessed is to have a complete and utter dependence on God. It's about the state of life that we're in because of being through God, with God, and in God. It's that pure peace and joy that nothing in the world can take away. Now, as we read the Beatitudes, we kind of get a conflicting view with ourselves. Because listen to what Jesus is calling blessed, or so it seems. Blessed are the poor. Well, first of all, Jesus didn't mean the financially poor. He talked about blessed are the poor in spirit. That doesn't sound like something our modern times might affirm. Blessed are those who mourn. I haven't met too many people, including myself, that thinks there's a blessing to be found in mourning. And so we find that the Beatitudes are cutting right across and counter to our own idea of what it means to be blessed. So we're going to have to come back to that basic definition of the gospel. What Jesus is trying to tell us, and what he's trying to tell his listeners in today's gospel, is that being blessed is not the same as being happy. In fact, happiness and blessedness can be two completely different things and two completely different states of life. Remember what I said before. Being blessed is being in that state of life through God, with God, and in God, where we're totally dependent on him. So take those who mourn. Those who mourn, but are in relationship with God, find that even this morning does not overcome them. They may even lose their faith for a time. They may be in complete despair. But the mourning doesn't overcome their blessedness, because the world can't overcome their blessedness. If we notice, every single time we have a communion service, which is every Sunday and then twice on Wednesday, the service ends with a blessing. And it's one that the priest or the bishop sends upon the congregation. Let's listen closely for a second. The usual one that's used is, "May the peace of God, which passes all understanding, keep your hearts and minds in the knowledge and love of God, and of His Son, Jesus Christ." What am I trying to say there in that blessing that I give to the congregation? It's saying that the peace that none of us understands is so powerful that can't be overcome by anything that we're going to experience in the world, not even the greatest disaster, that let that peace and the knowledge of Christ be upon us all. Because what else do we need before we go out into the world besides a healthy blessing? What else do we need than to be reminded of, it doesn't matter if something happens to me on the way home, I'm still blessed, not because of what I've done, but because of what God has done. This is important. Because if we're going to witness to people about what it means to be blessed as Christians, we have to be honest. Jesus was honest, especially towards the end of the Beatitudes. He said, "Blessed are you when they revile you and call you names and persecute you." Think about those early Christians. Think about St. Paul today. He didn't exactly have a very happy end. But even with his dying breath, he was blessed. He was blessed because of being in God, and with God, and through God. And that nothing could take that away. The question that I'd like to leave all of us with is this: what is the thing that we love most in our life? Could be a physical possession, could be a relationship, could be a job, could be anything. But what's the thing that we love the most, that if it were taken away from us all of a sudden, we'd really be put out? We would just be in despair. We'd be in complete chaos within ourselves. And then, let's pause for a moment and think that even though that's taken away, the blessing of God is still present. And we can still find that blessing through all the tragedy. We all know somebody who's been hurt, both Christian and non-Christian. And those who find their blessing in God usually have a different outlook than those who don't. So what's our blessing? Is it stuff that we can hold on to, that can be taken away from us? Or is it the absolute peace and joy that we have through God, with God, and in God, that can never, ever be taken away? Amen.